Am I the asshole for asking my wife to pour our daughter's pee down the toilet? Hello Internet. I'm hoping you can help me resolve a minor low-stakes domestic dispute. We are at the stage of potty training our daughter where she uses a little squat-up potty with a removable reservoir. I learned today that when it's just pee, my wife has been emptying it in the kitchen sink. I find this more than a little gross, and would very much prefer she empty it down the toilet in the powder room roughly 10 feet away from the kitchen sink as I do. Her argument is that the sink is where dirty things go and is already kind of gross besides, and some pee isn't any worse than the food scraps etc. that are in the strainer basket. For me, bodily fluids are in a completely different category from food scraps, and should be going down the toilet. Am I off base here? Not the asshole. That's just gross. The kitchen sink is not supposed to be dirty, and the place for pee is in the toilet. Would she be okay with you peeing in the sink instead of the toilet? Part of potty training is helping your kid understand that waste goes in the toilet. Eventually you want her on there. My kids helped me empty the reservoir into the toilet while I reiterated, pee goes in the toilet. Showing her it goes in the sink is confusing. Not the asshole. Let her see you piss in the sink. It'll only take one time. She'll stop. Edit. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Ew. Your wife is a perfect example of why to never eat at a potluck. No one wants to eat a salad rinsed in a piss sink. Nope. You never know what nasty shit people do at home. Is she going out of her way to take the squat-up potty out of the bathroom and into the kitchen just to dump it into the kitchen sink instead of the toilet? Beyond the grossness, that is just so bizarre to me. Edit. Some commenters have shared that the potty training toilet isn't always in the bathroom for many reasons. So I'm not as weirded out anymore. Not the asshole. You really can't eat at everybody's house. Am I the asshole for not giving my ex back a gift I received from his great-grandmother? I, 23F, and my ex, 22M, have been broken up for just about 3 years now. For context now, we had a child together in our relationship and we are both currently in new relationships. His new girlfriend is pregnant with his second child. Recently I received a message from my ex asking for a stone-carved pregnant elephant that was gifted to me by his great-grandmother 5 years back. His grandmother sadly passed a year back and he is currently asking for it back. I asked him firstly why he wanted it back as it was a gift for me during my pregnancy. A bit more context, we visited his family and his grandmother had elephants everywhere in her home. I made a comment about how beautiful her collection was, as some of them were very unique. She lit up and insisted I take one as a welcome to the family present. I tried to politely tell her I would feel horrible to break up her collection but she kept insisting. At this point I didn't want to be rude and said okay and walked around with her as she told me stories of how she got some of the elephants. Anyways, we stumble upon the stone-carved elephant with a carved-out tummy with a baby inside. She heavily implied that my choice should be that specific elephant as it fits the situation perfectly, me being pregnant and all at the time. I smiled and accepted and thanked her for letting me carry a part of her collection with me. She gave me a hug and accepted me into part of the family. My ex, who I guess got a bit jealous, wanted to pick out an elephant of his own, so he got to do so. Back to current day. He told me, due to the passing of his grandmother, he wanted to have the elephant to put with a gift he got with his great-grandfather so that they could both be together. When I asked him why he specifically wanted mine, he kept dodging the question and said it belonged to his grandmother and it being a gift from her to me held no value. I reminded him that he got to choose his own that day, he dodged that too. Calling me selfish and a lowlife. Part of me is more than willing to give it back to him but part of me knows that he is going to gift this elephant to his new girlfriend because of her new pregnancy. I say this because I know his narcissistic and manipulative personality. Why would he ask me now and not a year ago upon her passing? Am I the asshole? Update. I looked at the price of the elephant online. It's made from jade and have seen some sold for $200,400 online. Money might be his key factor in getting it back. Not the asshole. That elephant was a gift to you to honor your pregnancy and a lovely family heirloom that can then be passed down to your child from their great-great-grandmother. One of two things. 1. He wants to give it to his new squeeze. 2. He found out it's actually worth money and wants to sell it. No is a complete sentence. Cut him off anytime elephant comes across in conversation. I realize you can't block him because you share a child, good luck with that. If you think about it, that elephant would be something you can gift to your child to let him know he was loved before he was born. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It was gifted to you when you became a part of the family. No matter what with him moving on with his life, you will always be a part of that family in some capacity as his child's mother. I would say it was different if it was something for him, in a situation where it was the only thing of hers he would have. But even then it wouldn't be something you had to do, just a nice gesture. Not the asshole. Your child should inherit it when you decide to pass it on. I'd be putting it somewhere safe so your ex can't accidentally take it. Not the asshole. He's definitely going to try to give it to that girl. He's a weirdo. Block him immediately. You don't owe him anything. The gift is still in the family. Your child connects you to her. And, yeah, it's a gift so the ex can suck it. It sucks that you still have to deal with him for another decade or more, though. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for not paying for my fiance's mom's funeral? Small update. Thank you everyone for all your comments. They really opened my eyes. No plans are set in stone at the moment. That was just the estimate they gave him for the service. After talking to him tonight and explaining that I will not be footing the bill for any sort of big expensive funeral, he left the apartment, after a long argument, to stay with his grandmother and basically hasn't spoke to me since. We don't have any combined finances, accounts, so at this point I'm just over it and he can stay gone for all I care. New to Reddit, so forgive me for any formatting issues. To make a long story short, my 31, fiance's 35, mother recently passed. She was never really in his life, abandoned him at birth, and I've only met her one time in the 8 years we've been together. Recently she had come back into his life and they were on civil terms. We got news from the hospital that she had died and they immediately wanted to know what funeral home we wanted to send her to, and of course my fiancé decides he's obligated to figure all of this out since his other siblings are incarcerated. I recommended to him we just do something simple and keep it on the cheaper side since no one else will be helping financially and he doesn't have any savings either. She also didn't have any kind of life burial insurance. Well, today he surprises me after work with a $10K bill that he expects me to pay the majority of out of my savings because he can't afford it. I will admit I did help pay for his dad's cremation multiple years ago, but it wasn't near the cost of what he's wanting to do now. We just recently moved into a more expensive apartment and at this point a $10,000 funeral is just not on the table, but he won't budge. Not the asshole. It sounds like you already did your part supporting him in the past, but dropping $10,000 on a funeral for someone who wasn't even really in his life. That's wild, especially when y'all just moved and funds are tight. It's not your responsibility to bankroll this and he needs to respect that. Stay solid, but don't let him guilt trip you into going broke. What the fuck? Even if his mother was the most saintly person on earth and was a wonderful mother to him, you are in no obligation to pay for her funeral. Especially when you didn't agree to. And I would seriously reconsider this relationship. Is he generally a good guy and his grief made him do something stupid? Or does he take advantage of you often? Not the asshole. He signed up for it, he can pay it. And reconsider this relationship because that is insane. Not the asshole. He won't budge? Oh no, no. You tell him you are not paying for his mother's funeral. That is not your responsibility. If anything, you will help towards cremation services, which are way cheaper, but you are not paying $10,000. If that is what he wants, he can figure out a way to it for it. Location flag, location flag, location flag. This is your life, 10, 15 and 20 years from now. Not the asshole. You did not agree to spend $10,000. The fact that your fiancé just went ahead and spent that amount of money and just expected you to pay it is wild. Am I the asshole for asking my sister to cover up when breastfeeding? My sister is currently breastfeeding her 3-year-old. When she breastfeeds, she takes both boobs out. She's not very discreet at all. She sometimes takes her top off and bra, or she will just leave her boobs out after a feed. When it's being mentioned, she just says that her daughter is going to come back for more, so she just leaves them out. She does this around my partner, and my partner has expressed that he feels uncomfortable when she's trying to talk him and she's just got both boobs out. He's not against breastfeeding, he would just like her to be a bit more discreet and not show everything and just sit there with her boobs out. I think he's used to me because I'm currently breastfeeding myself, but I'm very discreet. I spoke to her about how he feels and she said he's being immature and it's natural. Also, I'm an asshole for even saying something to her because I'm breastfeeding myself and should know the feeling when someone tells you to cover up. She's not talking to me now. So am I the asshole? Edit. This happened at my home. We lost touch for 7 years and we got back talking at Christmas. This was my first time seeing her. Stayed for a few nights. When she left, he told me how he felt. You aren't actually asking her to cover up when nursing. You are asking her to cover up when she isn't. Who takes their top off to nurse by that point of the child's life? Yes, of course it's normal during the beginning. Wearing a bra and such can be difficult when starting the process. Especially if thrush happens. Newborn nursing and toddler nursing are a whole different thing. Not the asshole. A 3-year-old can be taught boundaries, like nursing at home, in a private area. It's not like she has an infant who can't wait to feed. She has a toddler who should for sure be getting the majority of their nutrition from other sources. I am pro breastfeeding as long as it makes sense for you and your kid, but that doesn't mean you get free rein to flash your milk makers to any and everyone. Not the asshole, the child is 3. She doesn't need them both out, and I'm guessing this isn't at her house. She also doesn't need to just leave them out, she's being gross. This comes from a breastfeeding mom to a 2-year-old. My daughter is allowed to have it for comfort, but she doesn't need it for nutrition anymore, therefore we don't do it in public. Not the asshole, it's really suspicious to me that she's completely bare-chested while not actively feeding the child and also having a conversation with your husband? And he has stated he's uncomfortable with this, so she is literally sexually harassing him. Not the asshole, she's using the kid as an excuse to flash everyone or something. Very inconsiderate, and a 3-year-old doesn't need to breastfeed anymore. Not the asshole. In the first instance I was ready to burn you to shreds, but taking your top off with both tits out and leaving them out after the feeding. No, that's weird.